Alright, what is good my people? It's been a minute. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Daniel Fix, and today we're going to be going through a nice little weekly breakdown, a kind of forecast for the coming week and what to expect on the indices and some of the major forex pairs, and also the dollar sentiment. So we're just going to be doing some technical analysis here. So starting off here on the dollar, as per usual, always looking for that dollar sentiment, always trying to understand where is the dollar going, because it can tell you a lot about price action and what you want to be doing for that coming week. So you can see that right here, we've clearly got bearish sentiment on the dollar. Some major points of data to pay attention to is this Wednesday candle right here. Notice how we broke the previous structural lows. This is a very significant structural low because this has essentially been untapped and unbroken since way back here, since early February. And we had that long accumulation period as a result of price failing to break the structural low a while back. So it's very important that we actually come down now. We've taken out this low. Notice how price has also dipped below a major psychological level. Obviously 100 flat is a major psychological level for the dollar, and the fact that we're now in the 90s, we're at 99, is also very important information to take into account when it comes to dollar sentiment. All of this is very clear for a bearish dollar, and the fundamentals have been lining up recently. But coming up into Monday, just typical price theory and price action behavior, you'd be looking for a steady kind of retracement back up to previous structure somewhere in this general sort of zone, before looking for that midweek reversal a little bit further down. Now granted, there is some early news on Monday and Tuesday for the dollar, so obviously news is a little bit of a wild card. I can't necessarily anticipate price action when there is high impact news. It could go in either direction, but just based off of price action and the way the market has been looking recently, you'd be looking for some variation of a retracement and price to continue to the downside. Again, this is just basic price action 101. So coming down here to US 30, you can see we've actually low-key been range bound, dependent on how you've been looking at price action for the past couple of weeks, even the past month and a bit now. US 30 is low-key been moving sideways. You've been in a ranging market. We have this structural high up here that was initially left on the 15th of June, and we retested it here on the 3rd of July and a couple of days right here, and early last week we also attempted to break it. Now, dependent on how you're looking at price, Friday's candle closure could be the break above price action, but I believe until we clear this wick high right here, we're still generally in a bit of a resistance zone, or an area where you don't necessarily want to be taking buys. Now, on a slightly smaller time frame, if we go to the 4 hour, we did have quite a strong sentiment candle closure right here, but once again we didn't quite beat out that wick, and price ended up rejecting and going in for a retracement, presumably to fill out some sort of imbalance that this initial bullish candle left. On a slightly smaller time frame, like the 1H for example, just typical behavior on Monday, you'd kind of be looking for price to open up and just accumulate down here for a little bit until the news comes out, in which case it will either go in either direction dependent on obviously the volume of the news. But just typical Monday behavior, I'd be looking for price to kind of continue doing this for a little bit. If anything, if we do open up like Monday London session with a lot of volume, I'd be looking for these lows down here to kind of get taken. So just to clarify, US 30 is currently bullish market structure. We're now in the process of breaking out of the range. I'm just being a little bit more cautious just because we haven't quite taken out the wicks, and I believe we still could break back into the range and continue to accumulate. So I'm not going to be trading this as of now, but we'll see as the week kind of opens up on what price does. Now coming here to nasdaq, nasdaq's in a beautiful region. Once again, similar to US 30, we had quite a large accumulation period that price left, and last week towards the end of the week after Wednesday, the midweek reversal, we actually broke these previous structural highs. So equal highs that were left here for a couple of weeks in a row have now been taken, and prices had a bullish impulsive movement to the upside. Very clean price action. Again, if you just look at NASDAQ recently, overall we've been in an uptrend. Granted, the past month and a bit hasn't been great because we had to kind of sit out for this accumulation period, but now if you look at the overall price action, we're back in that nice uptrend, and just looking for price to continue to rally. Friday was a weak sentiment candle. It was the start of the depletion, start of an accumulation, so naturally you would be looking for price to have that downward movement and to come and retest the previous structure that just got broken. Again, this is just basic price action theory. It's entirely dependent though on what the news does, because granted, Monday, high impact news at 1:30, if we open up and just obliterate to the upside, we'd be looking for a slightly deeper pullback at a later stage. On the smaller time frame, on the 4H, there's not really too much to go off of. The only key pieces of information right here is the fact that we didn't break the structural low. Price ended up wicking it and rejecting it. Even on a lower time frame, on the 1H, we didn't get a body closure below the low. So you could definitely be looking for Monday to continue to accumulate here, and then maybe for news we come out and we take out this sell side liquidity. Again, I can't necessarily predict price action, but this is just based off of pure behavior and a general characteristic, but I could definitely see this happening. And then moving on to German 30. German 30 is actually looking relatively clean in terms of I'm beginning to see a very familiar setup kind of occur here. I'm not going to specifically bait out the setup, but if you've been in the learn and earn for a while, you'll probably know what I'm referring to. But we've got a bullish impulsive movement right here, followed by that counter trend corrective to common retest structure. So looking for some sort of continuation movement to occur here on Monday. Obviously, German 30 is still going to be affected by the USD news. It's still going to have some sort of reaction. But generally speaking, it doesn't tend to have the huge candles like the USD pairs do or the main indices do. So it's still relatively tradable. On a higher time frame, very similar market structure and market behavior to the other indices. But right here, German 30 hasn't quite managed to take out the structural high or break the structural high. So definitely coming up into like Wednesday. Again, it depends how we open up on Monday, but coming up into some point later on in the week, you'd be looking for these highs to get broken. And the idea is that nasdaq, US 30 and German 30 will all break their major structural highs at the same time and have a similar movement. And that's a very good sign of a synchronized market that's probably going to have some good volume and some good trades. So all in all, very, very excited for next week. I really believe that we're now starting to get some big volume, and there's going to be some big potential plays on the indices. So stay active, stay vigilant, and don't hop into trades too early. Just remember, relax. You could be waiting until Thursday for that nice continuation long. You catch it, ride it up until Friday, and you're blessed. So relax, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.